I say? What can I say? Here is your host, Sean Demra. Welcome back to another The Few Show. We have a special guest in the house, and you're gonna you're gonna hear a little bit, or a lot, I should say, from our guest, Mr. Bonny Alves. But before we get into that, as usual, we're gonna kick this thing off with a music video, and this one is Bunty Singh, "I Want to Get Married."
Bunty sing again. Maha. Tell them again now. Call me mommy, call me auntie, tell them I come in. I need to find a girl who will be my dullahin. I want to get married, but nobody like me. They say gold bite me, that's why I can't find nobody. I want to get married, but nobody like me. They say gold bite me, and that's why I can't find nobody. Call me mommy, call me auntie, tell them I come in. I need to find a girl who will be my dullah. Here, let me go now. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hands in the air now. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hand in the air now. Every time I'm on the phone with me auntie pull my teeth, she just always tell me that them girls say I'm ugly. We went and asked home for this girl by the name of Sweet Matty. When the girl see me, she calling for shit daddy. Look, I can't take this no more. I head them down to the store. Time to upgrade myself. Time to nice up myself. Oh, I want to get married, but nobody like me. They say gold bite me, and that's why I can't find nobody. Call me mommy, call me auntie, tell them I come in. I need to find a girl who will be my dullah. Here, let me go now. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hands in the air now. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hand in the air now. One day I will find a girl who will love me for who I am. I won't have to bribe she will be my baby. Living in this life so long, I think it's time to move real hard. When the girls them see me, I'm sure to get them going mad. Listen me, I am not no ugly man now. Watch how they go run for me now. I am a handsome man, yeah. Don't worry what people say. Oh, I want to get married, but nobody like me. They say gold bite me, that's why I can't find nobody. I want to get married, but nobody like me. They say gold bite me, and that's why I can't find nobody. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hands in the air now. Everybody put your hand in the air now. Let me see you put your hand in the air now.
There will be lots of food, fun, games, and prizes. 2, 3.
Coolers Pop. Hey kid, tell him one last thing.
Don't forget to bring a kite.
Damn Rock Coalition.
What am I trying? Everybody. No. Watch out. Tell them say a couple of thousand. Roll out, funny legend. Steady out. Them a bad, and them a ready. Walk with the thing, my dog, the life ready. Pan rapid balance, case study. Boy, you fit them, stick it in on your jelly. So them a bad, and them a ready. Mr. None of them a ready. Chip for me. Savvy, ramp with me, steam dog, everybody. Go and pick up bodies down a supermarket from a boy this. Back a target map, 4-5 with dangle varnish. Speak Spanish, make your body vanish. A simple thing for put your dopey on this. Load up the tall clip. Black chip, any boy try this, them a go get. Them sick banana clip, kick them a bad. And them a ready, walk with the thing, my ugly life ready.
Welcome back. Now we have a special guest with us tonight, Mr. Bonny Alves. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me.
All right. First things first, we're going to just jump right into it. Let the people know who, might be not familiar with who Mr. Bonny Alves is. And I'm talking, when I'm asking this question, I'm talking about from way back, from since you were a child. Where did you, where were you born? Where did you grow up? And I'm talking like at a tender age. Let's start from there.
Actually, I was born in Agricola. I still live in Agricola. And I was the last boy in the family. Actually, I was the ninth of 11 children.
9 of 11.
Yes. And I did inherit my talent from my dad, who was very competent.
Your sound is not too clear, but I mean we're gonna make it work the best that we can.
I think I'm in the headphones. I think I'm getting a feedback too.
Okay.
One second.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, I'm back. I'm here.
Yes, this is, yes. I'm sorry about that. It was affecting me too. Um, how is it now? Is it better now?
Perfect. So let me
Right.
ask the question. Let me ask the question again. For those who may not know who Mr. Bonny Alves is, just give us, a little background of who you are, where you were born. I'm talking about from a tender age. Let's start from there.
Yeah, well, I was born in Agricola, 4th Street actually. And that was in 1955. I still live there actually. And I was the ninth of 11 children, the last boy in the family. And a lot of what I do today is largely because I came from a musical family. I am more or less continuing that legacy. My dad was a musician. My eldest brother was a musician. Another brother older than I was a very good singer.
Hmm.
And so it's traditional in the family that we are involved musically. So I went on to become, a singer, a musician, a producer, a director, an arranger, and I wear many caps. Thank God. I give God praise and thanks for the blessing that He has given to me, and I'm trying to use it up as effectively as I could by His grace, and also to let my light shine, that as the scripture says, that men may see my good works and to glorify God. I'm primarily here to be a blessing and to be of service to God and to the world, to my family, to myself.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Awesome. So the other, I mean, I have a lot of important questions to ask, but at what age did you know, fell in love with music?
Well, I think it was automatic because, as I said earlier, I grew up in a family where music was always present,
Hmm.
um, especially from the boys, my father, my brothers. And so there was a particular brother that I have. He's still alive today, thank God. He had a great influence on my life, and I always try to emulate him. He was, like a role model to me. I always wanted to be like him and to do the things that he does. And he was very encouraging.
Hmm.
And a lot of who I am and what I am today is largely because I was fortunate to have a brother like that, and also to grow up in a family that I grew up in.
Hmm.
And again, I give God thanks for such a privilege. I thank God also for my neighborhood. My neighborhood has a very rich history. I mean, sometimes when you hear about a great club, we get some very bad press, but my village, my community is a very, very talented community. We have lots of national champions in many disciplines, which I wouldn't talk about now because that is not what you invited me to speak about.
History is your
But
history.
just letting you know that I am proud of my roots. I am proud of where I came from, and I don't ever intend to forget where I came from.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, so in terms of being a um I mean, know you were a producer, you've done so much in the business. As a solo artist, um what would you say was your first official recorded song, and what year?
My first official song was, I think it was 1976. I was singing with a group called The Links,
Mm,
that included Martin Bourne, Rocky Bourne, Hillel McGlure, and Keith Simpson. There were some other guys who were part of the group initially, but they were more academical than we were, and they had to leave. They were QC boys. We were not. They were supposed to remain, and they pursued other channels in life. And the five of us, we continued to go for a number of years
mhm.
until when we also went different ways to pursue different careers and its solo and individual careers and stuff. But it was 1976. I did my first official recording with a group called
That's what.
Links.
Okay, so that's how you actually started out, with a group.
Yes, I started out with no. Actually, I started doing solos from a tender age of around 11 or
Mm,
12. I started singing at concerts, and by singing at these concerts, we met up when they were village concerts. You would hear some of the village from some of the other villagers like Rocky, Ronald Cameron. He's now deceased. Ricky Osborne, Ricky Osborne. He also is deceased. But these were guys, or we were guys who would frequently be in concerts in Agricola. And then some of us decided, you know what, let's form ourselves into a group and see where it takes us, where it take us, and it did. It did take us locally
Mhm.
to I guess the highest level that we could have. We used to play at a number of the major concerts in Guyana at the time, and then after a while, we started pursuing our own individual careers, and the rest is history.
Okay, okay. So after you guys started the group, you guys did your official recording. At what point did you at what point did you start your solo career, and which song was your first solo
I think what happened, what led us to pursue individual careers is that groups needed lead singers, and of course they couldn't afford all five of us. So um, you know we were selected sometimes, some of us, which include myself, to be lead to do lead vocals with other groups.
mm,
I did lead vocals for a number of groups. I would include the Brass Mechanics, the Music Machine, and a number of other groups. I was invited to do the Yoruba Singers, but I was there as a trombonist with the Yoruba Singers, mainly trombonist vocals. But because of that kind of platform, that kind of demand, saw us branching off to solo careers, and I have no regrets in doing that, because I think that it did enable me to embrace, um, and give character to the type of person that I am today. Producer, arranger, director, because I do films also, and I think that I had to. I think it was destined for me to take the role. I think that my steps were ordered of the Lord to go into this direction, because I was utilized a lot more in this way than if I was with a group. So I have no regrets of the decision that I made to do this.
okay. And what was the name of the song that you recorded as a solo artist? The first song.
Oh, I can't remember. I did many songs, but I tell you what. After a while, I started seeing the need to produce,
Mm,
and I did put my singing career at one time on the back burner. I maybe whilst we were talking, I might remember what song I did, but I did put my career on the back burner. As a matter of fact, there was like about 25 years, nothing in relation to recording was done in Guyana. If you wanted to record a song, you had to go to neighboring Suriname or to Trinidad, and because of that need, I started. I think it was 1990. I started to record, and to resuscitate the recording industry in Guyana that was dormant, or maybe you can even say dead for about 20 to 25 years. And when I saw that, I started saying, you know what? Maybe I'm going to produce more than I sing. And it is not until maybe the last 5 or 6 years after my involvement with bands that my wife said to me, and a number of other people said to me, Bonnie, you're a very good singer. Why you don't sing as much? And I didn't really take it seriously. And then one day it dawned on me, you know what? I should do something, so that there could be a reference. And then I started singing again. I started recording. I am doing mainly covers now, and I'm doing more covers for myself. And I'm writing songs for people. I've
mhm.
written so many songs for my wife. I've written so many songs for people. I hardly write for myself. Um, but again, I don't think that I have any regrets. But yes, my wife said to me, Bonnie, you are still valuable and you still have a vocal contribution to make, and you should make it. And I did take her advice. There was another young lady by the name of Iowa. Iowa, at the time she was Iowa Accra.
Mhm.
And even Robert Carmen heard me at time and he said, you must do this some more. And like as I said, one day it hit me hard. And I say, you know what? And if I tell you what, that day I was feeling a little depressed. And I decided, look, let me turn to something that would probably be of some comfort and upliftment to me. And there it was. I started singing, I started recording, and I don't think that I will stop now
Okay, so take us
until God says so.
yeah, exactly. So take us through the process briefly on back then. Me as an artist coming into the studio for you to record me. What was that recording process like?
Um, I think that I was I was excited to, well, yeah, I'm going to be doing a recording. I remember listening in my days. There were some very, very, I would say, great Guyanese singers. Johnny Braff, Mark Holder, and there were others that came after, but um, Johnny Braff in particular was a great influence, on in my life. And I remember when I got into studio, I said, "Wow, I'm actually doing this. I hope that one day I will be like Johnny Braff." I regard Johnny Braff as making I would say, the greatest vocal contribution in the history of this country, and that's how I see Johnny Braff. I don't think it has been surpassed as yet. We have a lot of good singers, plenty, many, many, many good singers. But Johnny Braff, he holds that spot because of he was good, and also timing, and where you are placed at the time of your journey, also is very, very significant in terms of how you are remembered. So Johnny, I think will always hold that place because of how I would remember him, and many people would remember him for being a man who really moved Guyana vocally. He really moved this country vocally. So my experience in studio was, wow, I'm here doing
Like the
like what
recording,
Johnny Brown
like
did,
what
and I,
kind
I,
of
I, I hope that I could be like him.
so in addition to that, in terms of like they have so much stuff that is so much easier in the studio as a producer. Um these days an artist walk into the studio, everything is pretty much I guess plug and play. But back then, you recording an artist, what was the system like? What was the whole setup?
Well, I started in the old days. In the old days when I started, there weren't trucks. You sing, and then if you make a mistake, you got to start the whole process all over again. You don't punch in, you didn't used to, punch in and stuff. Now there are unlimited tracks that you can do things, you can change. It is so vastly different,
Hmm.
so greatly advanced, much much easier for an artist to come in studio and to do stuff,
Hmm.
and that too, I'm happy that things have changed and things have gotten better. And I remember when we resuscitated the recording industry in Guyana, I had my wife do an album of songs, and they were very, very difficult songs. And I said to her, I said, babes, you got to practice and learn these songs good, because any mistake, we got to go from the top
Okay.
again. And I remember we were using two tape decks, one to play the music and the other to record the music onto the other deck with the voice, right? And she sang 13 songs like Lulu, Let's Pretend and Morning Dew and some Dionne Warwick and stuff like that, right?
Mm.
And I wanted her to do one more song. I said, babe, you just got one more to make it 14. And she said to me, Bonnie, I am singing another song. It was really, really challenging in those days.
Mm.
But you know what? We didn't have to go back anything from the top because she rehearsed and she rehearsed. And sometimes you might rehearse and then somewhere along the line your voice might stutter somewhere. None of that,
Yes.
man.
I
She went right
think.
through with it. So it's good now. As I tell a number of young artists when they come, things are so much better now. They're living in better times and more advanced times. And I think people should really take the opportunity much more serious. There is so much that I think that we could accomplish if there's some more seriousness applied to what we are doing.
So, what year was I Wish I Were My Girlfriend's Cell Phone?
Hmm.
I did my research and I found a video. It was very interesting.
Actually, that came from a movie that we made. We collaborated with Kunchi,
Mhm.
and Kunchi went on television and he said he needs help for he have an idea. And I went, I met him. I had a song before that dealt with how people were on the cell phones and they're not making much of each other. They go to lunch and they're still on the cell phone. They go to dinner and they both on the cell phones and stuff like that. So we collaborated.
Mhm.
Um, he had a concept. I did the screenplay for it, and that was the theme song for the movie. In which his girlfriend was always on the cell phone, and he became jealous of the phone. And he said, I wish if I were my girlfriend's cell phone because she pays so much attention to her phone. And I wish if I could get that kind of attention from her. So that's where that song came from. It's a good thing you said that because you were asking about songs, and I didn't remember that I had recorded that song. I guess I'm probably
And
getting
what
old
year? What year
now.
was? What year was that?
Oh, year was that? It was not so long ago. I think that was like about this is what 23. It was around like 2015, somewhere there about.
Okay, so I saw 2016. I
Yeah,
saw 2016.
yeah. The song was probably done in 2015, but officially released in 2016. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I also was reading that you recorded over 1,000 songs. You produced over 400 plus videos. And the list goes on and on and on. So it brings me to this question. Um, what part do you think you've played in the development? I mean, you answered the this this question partially earlier, but I just want to ask it directly. What part do you think you've played over the past 50 years plus in the business,
I didn't get the last. You said what part did I play in?
in the Guyana music industry over the
Okay.
past 50 plus years?
Well, actually, in the resuscitating of the industry, I was the pioneer of that. It was I who started the whole um, process of doing recordings again. I did. You did. I did make mention of something before, but nothing was happening in Guyana at one time, and then I became kind of frustrated. You have to get so much money to go abroad and do, and I said, you know what? Whatever we have, we're going to start with that. And I remember, as I said, we started with two tape decks and we started to resuscitate the recording industry. And I'm happy to say that from that primitive effort, um, we moved from a stage of obscurity, of a stage where nothing was happening, to our most productive period in the history of Ghana is now, because we produce more music now than any other time in the history of our country. And I would say that it started from that one step of faith,
Mm-hmm.
from being frustrated and disgusted with not having a studio in Guyana. And I said, look, we have got to start somehow, somewhere. Some people still beat me up for the effort. I remember when we started, there were some people who saying, "This is what they think they're doing. That's not for Guyana," and many negative things. But I have no regret, because that effort did influence what is happening today. So I have to take credit. Many people, when they heard the effort, they say, "By this thing could be done," And there were some people who went on to even to have more advanced studios and more advanced equipment than I had at the time. And I guess it was all a part of God just letting me run the first leg of the relay. I ran the first leg and I ran it well. I'm still running today,
Yeah.
but there are a number of other people who are in the race too, and they're all running. And we should see ourselves as being part of the effort to get Guyana where Guyana should be. There was one time where we were actually leading the Caribbean in relation to the music industry. At one time,
What year was that?
Trini-
Do you remember?
that was going way back in the that was like back in the 50s and 60s. Um, why? Mighty Sparrow, who's the greatest calypsonian in the world, or greatest calypsonian ever, he had his first road march song recorded in Guyana. It was called Gene and Dino. As a matter of fact, he was living in Guyana. And a lot of Trinidadian musicians would come to Guyana in the off season. They would come to Guyana and look for work, and they
Mm,
would work in this country. That song, Happy Holidays, church bells are ringing. That there's a Trinidadian involved in that song, a Calypsonian. And a number of things used to happen. They would come to Ghana, and I remember, I Sparrow saying to his manager, who was a Guyanese, Mr. Shaw, Cyril Shaw, and he said, "Man, I get in a vibe with this song, and I want to go back to Trinidad and with this song." And everything was sponsored for him, his ticket and everything by Mr. Shaw. He went back to Trinidad and he won his first road march with Gene and Dino.
mm,
So, we in those days we definitely they were even how Trinidad promote their music today um was done through the vaudeville shows that we used to have. There was a lady by the name of Madame Melindy. She went to Trinidad, and they have learned so much from us. They have learned a whole lot from us. And this might not sound like the truth, but even to their soca music, um, they owe us some credit.
mm,
Notwithstanding that Eddie Grant challenged Lord Sharti or Ras Sharti. It was said that Ras Sharti is the innovator of soca music. Eddie Grant challenged it, and he never really rebutted. He actually did change his concept when Eddie Grant challenged him. But there were two Guyanese guys, the Butu brothers. They left Guyana tender age. Their mother was a music teacher,
mhm,
and they went to Trinidad, and everybody went when they used to call the band the Baji band.
mm,
And when these guys started playing music, a lot of Trinidadians came and experimented with the Mutu brothers, who were Guyanese, and you saw a revolution in the music in Trinidad through the Mutu brothers. It is also argued that the Mutu brothers came, knowing that they had roots in Guyana, they're Guyanese, and
mm,
they would come home and they heard the Afro indie beat that was done by HGP Channel 16, Terry Nelson, Man from Afai, Omar Farouk. He had different names.
Mhm.
And they went back with that idea to Trinidad and saw the whole revolution of what we would call Afro indie beat that is now chutney soca.
So you said this
Uh,
is in the 50s, or what year was this?
that was in the 60s,
60s.
early 60s. If I even tell you something else, I have not been able to ascertain this as yet in relation to who this guy really is. But even rhythm poetry,
Mhm.
we all say that rhythm poetry started in Jamaica with Big Youth and stuff. That was in the 60s. But um, it is also true that there was rhythm poetry before the Jamaicans started doing it in the 60s. There is evidence, it is documented that
Mm.
in the 50s in Trinidad, there was a guy by the name of Clemador. There was a Guyanese by the name of Clemador also, who lived in Trinidad. And some of the old Calypsonians, like the deceased Lord Canary, and there was another Ken Dingo, and I can't remember who the Ken Dingo. He's still here.
Mhm.
In which Clemador, the guy who did the rhythm poetry in the 50s, is believed to have been a Guyanese.
Mhm.
Um, when I look at the name, I was doing research and I saw there was a Joseph Clemador, and I can't remember the name of the other Clemador, but I was told as the same person that I am waiting to ascertain or to confirm. And if it is so, then it would mean then that we would also have played. When I say we, I mean Guyanese would also have
Chinese,
played a
Chinese,
part
yes.
in the creation of rhythm poetry, because there is nothing documented earlier than that particular song, um, that demonstrates rhythm poetry before that was done by Clemador. It was done in Trinidad, but it was done with the swing influence, Dum,
Mhm.
dum, 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 ba, 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 da, da. And I said,
Mhm.
well, I put a left for my girlfriend, badang, and I walk down the road. The next thing you hear, "Beep," police come, pick me up. That was the song.
Mhm.
He get in trouble because he beat a girlfriend. I mean, it wasn't a nice story. I beat up a girlfriend and stuff. It wasn't nice. But then when you're dealing with history, you can't cherry pick.
Yeah.
You're dealing with history. You're dealing with
History.
history, right? So that's the first evidence of rhythm poetry, and that was in the early 50s. It was even before I was born. I was born in 55, but I
Mm.
was fortunate from time to time to hear Borty Chancellor and some of the other guys on Radio Demerara and GBS playing that particular song. And I was always impressed by it when I heard it. And I said, wow, this is strange. And then I don't know if people probably heard the song and they got the idea. I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
Mhm.
But, you know, we would have given to the Caribbean and to the world a number of things. Look, Harry Belafonte made his name by doing a number of folk songs and calypsos and stuff. And Bill Rogers took Harry Belafonte to court for taking his music and won. That is documented. So some of the songs you hear Harry Belafonte singing is from a Guyanese, Bill Rogers. So a lot of times we don't know our history. We don't know how much we have contributed to to the
Mhm.
world musically. And it's sad to know that sometimes you hear people saying, "Oh, Guyanese man, we are copycats. We just follow. We can't innovate nothing, or we can't. We're not innovators, or we can't invent anything." It's not true. Um, yes, we were to some extent beaten back by circumstances,
Mhm.
and we are very poor in branding and marketing our stuff. and as a result, things are taken from us
That's
and are
right.
given to other people. And that even when you tell your own people the history and the truth of what it is, they don't believe you.
So that is that is some powerful. I'm lost for words. Powerful information and history. So back in the, I would say, the 50s and 60s, while you were, producing and all the stuff, who were the top artists? Like, you, maybe we have the Jomos, we have the Tamika Marshalls, we have, all these other artists. Like, who were them back in your days?
And which time you're speaking about? When I start producing or before?
When, before and when you started producing?
Well, we had in my earliest days, I could remember in terms of vocals.
What year is this?
This was like in the 50s, late 50s.
Hmm.
You know, you had Johnny Braff, the Johnny Braff area, Mark Holder, Sammy Bash, also was huge. He also has some very huge vocal contributions. And there were a number of other singers who didn't record, but were fantastic singers. Aubrey Cummings also, he did some recordings.
Hmm.
You had a guy by the name of, we used to call him Clunes. I think his name is Desmond, I can't remember what, but he was a fantastic singer. There was my elder brother, one of my elder, my one of my elder brothers by the name of Charles. He was a very very good singer. That's the guy who mentored me actually. And um, in terms of female singers, you had Zarina Ali. You had Stella Clark, and just to name a few. But these were people I used to, as a young guy, used to enjoy singing. And then as time progressed, um, of course, Charming Blackman did make a significant contribution, very 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 significant contribution to music in this country. Tamika Marshall also is doing a fantastic job, and there are a number of other people that are doing good. You know how many people did not know that that song, "Rock Me Body," was done by a Guyanese. There are people who thought that it was a Trinidadian who did that song, but
Hmm.
Samantha Grant. She is also a fantastic singer. There are a number of other people who are doing well. Jackie Jacks, Diana Chapman,
So
Lisa
these are these
Punch.
current time you brought me to.
Yes, and I call because there are some of them. I'm proud to say that it was myself and Charmian who discovered and worked with some of them initially, like Jackie Jacks, Lisa Punch, Diana Chapman, just Jada Harry. They all came out of our studio because we always took time out to um, discover new talent. I
Mhm.
mean, we don't abandon. Well, I won't want to say old, but we don't abandon established talent and even old talent, people who are wrong, because we feel in the music business, once you have a contribution to make and you can make a significant contribution, you should, regardless of your age. So um, the youths are the future, and we must invest and get involved with the youths. But at the same time, we can't forget the people who have been in the trenches with us and who have played the part so that people can come now and can have a easier access to stardom, and and so these were some of the people who made significant contributions. I might be forgetting a few of the older artists
Mhm.
that made Sash Prasad also was a great influence at one time, and Celia Samaru. and the
Mhm.
Indian circuit was very, very influential.
So what
Just to
genre?
know,
What
you
genre?
have she was doing Indian music, and she still
Oh,
does.
mhm.
Of course, now you have guys like Bunty Singh and this guy Stephen Ramphal, fantastic guy.
For Kadi Singh.
At one time, the man brought second in the soca competition, and that same year he won the chutney competition. You know, something is happening now. I don't know what it is. Somehow there's a falling out with him and some people. So um, he is not allowed into competitions right now. But he's a very, very good artist. It's unfortunate that that kind of thing is happening because we need to put our best people out there, regardless of your religious or your political persuasion. We need to have our best people
That's right.
doing the work because that will make it easier for us to get back to where we were. Now, being honest, I'm a man of faith, but when I look at what is required for us to get back there, sometimes I feel as if we can't get it. I just feel that way sometimes. But you know what? I'm not a quitter, and sometimes what you might think is a far way off in just one swipe, one
That's right.
stroke by the hand of God, and things can happen, man. So, um, you know, one of our biggest setbacks is how sometimes we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe that it can be done, and as a result, we have to run maybe four times as fast as other countries. But when we beat up on ourselves like that, then it hinders us from moving as fast as we can, and
That's right.
that means that it will take longer for us to achieve our objectives and our goals.
So you keep mentioning things that I have questions for. So you just mentioned, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. You mentioned just now about paving the way for the new generation to to do a lot more and much easier instead of actually starting from ground zero. Now, have you had any experience where you feel like the younger creators, the younger artists, like like come over in a disrespectful way to you to say, "Well, hey, you had your time, and it's time for us to take over." Have you had
Oh
that
yes, yes,
experience?
yes. That seems to be a thing that is happening all over the world. I heard people like Oprah had to battle with that not so long ago, and she took a very firm stand where that is concerned. They say the youth are the future. I agree that they are the future, but sometimes the youths just want to take over right now.
Hmm.
And rather than them being mentored and being taught the fundamentals and the principles that will make them to be sustainable.
Hmm.
You hear things like that's old time thing. Look, let me tell you something. Let me give you an example. My wife, myself, and there are a number of other people, like some of the old school guys like Compton Hodge and stuff. We can go on stage and perform like 4 hours, different genres of music, jazz, soul, R&B, you know, calypso, soca, and stuff. And you ask a number of young singers today to do that, they're going to get a couple dancehall and a couple reggae, and that is it. They're not trying to be rounded
Hmm.
in their repertoire. So if a night there is a, let's say, a country and western party, and you want some of the top singers to perform, they can't because they don't know country songs.
Hmm.
You want them to do hip hop, some can't because they don't do that. They just do soca and they just do reggae. And sometimes you try to tell them, say, look, man, it also helps when you listen to other genres of music because there are some fundamentals and there's some principles in other genres of music that could help you. I remember a time I was doing a song And I was telling the singer, do it this way. And the singer said to me, that's not possible. It can't happen. It can't happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, all right, I'll get somebody else to do it. And yeah, I got another singer who was willing to listen to me and to work with me. It was difficult, but and you know what? We got it. And then the other singer said, man, I didn't know that this thing was possible. I said, man, you know what? You guys should listen to some more calypso. I know you might say it's old people music, but there are a lot of fundamentals in calypso that can teach people a lot with regards to the art of singing, how to, articulate and how to express, So, yeah, some people will say to you, man, I'm this old time thing, man. There's some young singers who will tell it to the plain, I don't need to rehearse. Now, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Bob Marley, those guys used to rehearse like they head on good. If you're fit, you can't perform with these guys. You get sick before the show because these guys would rehearse and rehearse and rehearse because they want when they go. A lot of people sometimes they see the end product,
Yes.
the
True.
end result, but they don't understand that the end result don't just come like that.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from preparation. You got to prepare yourself.
That's
You
right.
got to rehearse. But when you go on stage, you're going nervous or you're going frightened.
That's
You know that
confidence.
okay, we confident, we have this covered, we got this, and let's go now and execute.
That's
Execution
right.
don't just come like that. A man don't become a marksman just like that. It takes practice.
Mhm.
Everything. Cricket, you gotta go in the nets and practice. We know it is not the same thing like playing a real match. Boxing, you gotta go in the gym, you gotta do your skipping, you gotta go on the heavy punching bag and the speed bag, and all these things are necessary. You gotta build your abdominal muscles so you could take
Mhm.
a good belly punch, like how Muhammad Ali used to just stand up in the ring and hide your face, and you're gonna beat you wrong your belly, and you didn't to do nothing really because of the fact that he
Conditioning.
had developed strong abdominal muscles. It's the same thing with music. It's the same thing with singing. You have to practice.
That's
You
right.
have to learn your craft. You got to listen to different styles and genres of music if you really want to develop. Because there's some people who are very poor in constructing melodies, and when you listen to them, some of them sometimes the melody is not consistent, and that's because of poor listening practices.
Mm-hmm. 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 So, in terms of our current artists, reggae, calypso, soca, just to name, a few, who do you think like got it?
I um
Not to put you on the spot, but who do
I
you
I
think?
don't want to call some names because I might forget some, but I will tell you there is definitely a lot of talent.
Mhm.
There is lots of talent among the youth. I can tell you, I will take the opportunity to say this. There's a guy by the name of Roberts. So Roberts is his name for me. Charmin, help me. He
Bill
is a corporal in
Roberts.
the police force. Huh?
You said Roberts. Okay, that is what's his
Yeah,
name?
right. He was in the soccer
Yes,
competition this
yes,
year.
yes.
Um, oh boy, I can't
Trying to
remember his
listen
name.
to,
It's
yeah.
not coming to me. But I tell you this: look out for that guy. I believe that guy is going to take Guyana and the Caribbean by storm. That guy is a
He is great.
fantastic
He is awesome.
artist. And I think he was in two competitions, and I don't like how he was treated in terms of his placement.
Hmm.
Um, but that by Corporal Roberts, Agakali
I
Corporal
can I
Roberts,
can
so I
find
can
his
remember
name.
his first name. Corporal Roberts is a fantastic singer and performer. I know what I like about the guy. The guy, he little bulky. But
Yeah,
you know what? He handles that weight well. He moves well on stage.
Timothy
And
Roberts.
once again,
Timothy Roberts.
yes. Thank you, man. You know them, but you know more than me, man.
And the thing is,
um,
I do a lot with these guys, but the first name just slipped.
yeah, that guy. I think I I can say this. He has impressed me the most than anybody else in relation to the ability to sing,
Mm-hmm.
or for the young crop of artists there is. Man, that guy is fantastic, and I think that he will do. Um, I think he will do well once he doesn't become frustrated or become the victim of circumstances. Because, um, if you are not one of the anointed ones, you don't get the kind of support that you should get, and a lot of times people become frustrated and they give up. The struggle, and
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So,
But I hope that don't happen to him.
mhm,
I told him, I said, look, man, anytime, you might need assistance or help in relation to your career, feel free to call me. 'Cause of course, he works with another label and another artist, and I don't want to butt in like that, if you already established a relationship with another producer, but I said, you could still give me a call. Maybe I might be able to give you some advice, and but Timothy Roberts is fantastic.
yes, yes.
I like also, and we talking about people now, cause we talking about like some of the established people that I call, because even though Diana Chapman is hot currently now, I don't consider her a newcomer because she's been around for quite some years now.
Mhm.
But
Excuse me.
I there are some other people that but
No
I think,
pressure. No pressure.
genuinely speaking, Timothy Roberts stands out for me.
Hmm. And you did say crop and not crop of artists. I just want to clarify that for the listeners, and they don't take
Mm.
what you said in terms of we got a bunch of crappy artists and you just
No,
pick.
no, no.
Yeah, I just
I was just saying
crop,
from the crop part.
crop.
Let me
Exactly.
let
Yes.
me make it clear, and
Different
may,
group.
may I speak some English? Crop of
Yes,
the crop of artists that we have, meaning they are monk. When
that's right.
and if people are having difficulty in understanding that, it's like when you got a harvest, you know,
Yeah.
you hear the rice crop and the sugar crop and stuff. Well,
You
we're
know,
talking about the crop
yeah,
of artists that we have that would include everybody,
correct. So
right?
I
So
just
I
wanted.
am in, right. I am not in any way.
That's right.
I won't ever do that to
Hmm.
my Guyanese artists, to say that we don't have crappy artists. We Yeah, there might be some people who might like the thing and the thing might not like them. Yes, yeah, though, all over the world you just
Reality,
get.
reality.
Yes, in every discipline, they got some people like cricket, but cricket and like them. They like basketball, basketball and
That's
like them. You know, so you get all the time. But we got I think it's Marty Queen. I really like her positiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's learning, and
That's right.
I know these things get me in trouble sometimes when I might not remember,
Remember,
some of the artists.
you can't mention every single artist, so
Yeah,
somebody's gonna get left out, right?
yeah.
But it's not, you didn't commit any crime, you didn't you didn't break any rules or laws or anything of the sort. It's just that, off the top of your head, you mention names, right?
Mm.
Um, now,
And before you go on, so just hold your question there. And I also, again, I am endorsing Stephen Ramphel
mhm,
as a fantastic Guyanese artist, and I think that Stephen Ramphel should be given the chance to perform. He's
mhm,
not allowed now in competitions. He don't get select.
mhm,
But when you hear Stephen Ramphel perform, that boy is great.
mhm,
Also, I cannot forget my boy, Quincy Lakon, Ego. This is a young man that I have tremendous respect for. The guy came to me and he said, when I first met him, he was doing R&B and stuff, and then he came to me one day and said, "You want to sing calypso?" I said, "Man, you can't sing calypso, man. You ain't got calypso voice. And I turned him down, and he came back the next year. I still wasn't convinced that the guy could do calypso.
Mm.
And so I didn't work with him where that was concerned. And then he came back a third year. And I, even though I wasn't convinced that he was ready for calypso, I said, you know what I like about you? Your determination. And so I gave him a chance to work. The first year he performed, he got fourth. The second year he got fourth, which the majority of people said he should have he should have won the crown that year. So
Mhm.
he got two fourth place and then he got second. And then this year he didn't place, which was surprising to a number of people. But he's also very versatile and a very talented artist. And I think that, given the right opportunities and the right break, that he's going to do well too.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, great, great. Just one or two more questions, and I'm gonna let you go. Um, Mistakes, right? What do you think was or were your biggest mistakes in terms of pursuing certain things, things that you see that was necessary that you probably you know eased up on because of not getting that support? Like what mistakes do you think that you've made, and not necessarily regrets,
Well,
as
mistakes.
the music business?
I don't think that it was mistakes that caused me not to have achieved some of the things that I would have wanted. I think some of it was vindictiveness by a few people. They were very vindictive, and like as I said, we got a kind of not governmental politics, but they got um, you know musical politics and a number of things that way sometimes people don't want to see this particular person be successful. And there are people who work against you deliberately. There are people who don't involve you in certain things because they don't want you to be successful.
Mhm.
These are some of the struggles and we have, but mistakes. I would say that I have made mistakes. I don't regret because mistakes helps you to become stronger. You learn from them. There's a very talented musician by the name of Wynton Marsalis. He is considered the jazz ambassador of the world right now. And he said, anytime you are not making mistakes, and he was speaking musically, he said, I don't worry about mistakes because if you're not making mistakes, then you're not learning.
Mm,
And so, um, no man is an island. Only God don't make mistakes.
that's right.
So we will make mistakes. So far, I don't think that I have made any mistake that I have regretted. There are some people that I could have worked with, but for instance, like no, I have 16 artists that I work with, myself and wife, and it's a tall order, it's a task,
Mhm.
um, and I would not take another artist right now under our management unless this artist is phenomenal. We can't afford it because it takes time, it takes money, it takes energy,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't drop the 16 that I have because they have stuck with us through thick and thin, through good times, through bad times. But I can tell you, it is very, very demanding,
Yes.
very demanding.
Yes. What keeps you going?
Well, there are a number of things that keeps me going. One, I think that I understand my calling. I understand my worth. I understand the role that I should play. And I guess all of this comes from two things: love for it, and two, the anointing of God on my life. And that is why I have to keep going because this is what I have been called to do. This is what I've been called to perform, and I want to do it to the best of my ability. Whether people might like it or they don't like it, um, you know, everybody kind of like what you do. I have seen people run down Rihanna. Man, at one time, I wonder if Rihanna would have survived the criticism that she used to. But look at Rihanna today.
That's right.
She is the richest female artist in the world.
That's right.
Yeah. She got more money than Beyonce, more than all of them.
Combine.
Taylor Swift, all of them. They are not as rich as Rihanna. A little, as we used to say, some people say, oh, the little shibby girl from Barbados. Yeah, that same little shibby girl right now is at the top of the chain. Where it comes, there are only few women in the world, maybe two, three, or four that got more money than Rihanna right now.
Hmm.
You know. Um. So what else can I say?
What's your biggest accomplishment? And this includes, um, artists that you've managed over the years, your personal achievements, anything embodies that. What would you say would be your biggest?
Well, I would easily say that my biggest achievement would have been resuscitating the recording industry in Guyana. I don't think that there is anything that I would consider of more importance to know that um, it was as a result of that leap of faith. And also, I must say, thanks to the Yoruba Singers also, whose facility at that time I used. I was the musical director at the time of the Yoruba Singers. Ezzy Ratcliffe, of course, was the owner. And he said to me, Bonnie, you do anything you feel like doing once it comes to something that is creative.
Hmm.
I give you the mandate and the power as the musical director. You just do it. You don't even have to ask me. And, resuscitating the music industry, the recording industry, I think was the thing of greatest importance that I have done in my life and in my career. I also want to state also that I am very proud. I have done 16 movies. I do movies too. There's some of my movies on YouTube.
Hmm.
And also I have ventured into that. I kind of like movie making. Only that it is not as easy as music. I could sit on home with my keyboard and stuff, and I could do a song, and but when it comes to movie, I can't make a movie alone. I gotta get plenty people to help and stuff. But I love it because it epitomizes on all the different disciplines, whether it's acting and fashion and music and or drama. They're all combined into this one you know um, thing, and you put it out there. And I would love to see us also venture out a little bit more. And well, let me be optimistic, and maybe one day, maybe we have people, we have Guyanese now who are doing pretty well. There is CCH Ponga, who was in ER and Law and Order, and in Avatar 1 and 2. She was Queen Moat in Avatar 1 and 2. A lot of people didn't even know that a Guyanese was in Avatar 1 and 2.
Mm.
And she's also built to play another part again in an Avatar 3 that is coming up. Then there's Letitia Wright, who was in Black Panther. She's a Guyanese too, and she has done remarkably well for herself. And there are two other Guyanese girls that are shining. Also, I haven't gone into investigation in depth where they are concerned, but I would really love to see us, um, you know, move forward, and we start getting Oscars and Grammys, and as a matter of fact, do you know there's a Guyanese who has um, two Grammys.
That is the Black Panther, Letitia, right?
No, I'm talking musically now.
Oh, Grammys, Grammys.
His
Oh, Grammys,
name
Grammys.
is
Not us.
Loris Holland. Loris Holland,
Mm,
right? He lives in the United States, but he has two Grammys,
mm,
and he also has an Emmy also. And these are things that we don't publicize, we don't brandish it. I try to get some Guyanese excited about the fact that, hey man, we got Grammy winners, man. We also got in athletics. We also got Olympic gold medal, and we got World Championship gold medal in Mark McKay. Mark McKay has won Olympic gold, not running for Guyana. Guyana, you know what? He came home to Guyana for Guyana to sponsor him to run in the Olympic. Guyana refused.
hmm,
And the man went back to Canada. He ran for Canada and he won the gold medal. The next year he won the world championship.
hmm.
So sometimes we throw away opportunities because we don't believe in our people. We don't invest in our people. And also about a week ago, Val Barnwell ran in the 65-year-old category. This is the 60 meters dash in the Masters games, and he won the gold medal, being the fastest man at 65 in the world. He's a guy, and he's an proud, and he has been doing this thing since, I think, he won when he was 50, he won when he was 55, he won when he was 60, and he won when he was 65. So this guy, and you know what? There has never been an article in any newspaper with regards to this. I have sent pictures and stuff that they should publish these things. There's no article. He has not. Jamaica invited Val Barnwell to Jamaica
Hmm.
to honor him. And he's not a Jamaican, he's a Guyanese. We are yet to do so. We never invited Mark Mackay. And I spoke with Mark because I did a movie in which I involved his story in one of the movies that I did. And I told him, and I said, I'm going to be in talking about your story in Guyana. And he says, okay. And he said, man, it still hurts me today that how he was treated in Guyana, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. But like as you said, I can't stop. I am committed because I know my calling, I know my word, I know what I'm anointed to do, and I trust God that until when He says, Bonnie, well, your work is done. I'm grateful because at one time I thought that my work was done. Not so long ago I was very, very, very sick.
Yes.
Um, it didn't look like I was going to make it. When I look back at, when I look back
Hmm.
when I look back at what I went through during my time of sickness, I could not have made it. My body was not strong enough to withstand the things that I went through. And God put a woman in my corner, a woman by my side who was there. He gave her the strength and the patience, and so
Yes.
even come out more resolute, more determined to do what I want to do and to give God the praise and the thanks and the glory. God did not send me back to do stubbornness with my time. So I'm going to even put more value to my effort and my work.
Yes. Yes. Um, One last question.
That's all right.
What advice would you give the younger artists in order to really make an impact, and also how they can actually assist in developing the Guyana music industry even better? What advice do you have in regards to artists in general, but mainly for the younger artists?
Well, I would always say a number of things. Whatever discipline you are in, learn the craft, learn about it, practice, go on stage, get experience, have mature people, and I'm using the word mature. I ain't saying big people, I ain't saying young people, I ain't saying old people, because they got some people got age, but they're mature neither. So I'm saying get matured and experienced people in your corner who could advise you and help you to understand the business so that you don't come in this business with crazy expectations, and then when it don't happen as you might think it should happen or how you may have perceived it to happen, then you become broken, and you become, when I say broken, I mean broken in spirit and broken in heart, and then you give up because things didn't pan out the way you thought that it should have panned out. And keep practicing, keep listening. Listening is critical. Keep rehearsing. And like as I said earlier, you can't be a good boxer if you don't do gym work and glove work. You can't be a good athlete if you don't go on the track and train and listen to your coach. No discipline. Any discipline, there's a coach. Listen to your coach. I know that got sometimes some coaches are not nimble enough and flexible enough. It's like when Michael Johnson used to run. He had an unorthodox way of running. And there's some other cricketers. Colin Craft was a bowler, was very unorthodox. But you know what? The coaches saw in these guys, you know what? This is a special thing. Usain Bolt, physically is not built to be a sprinter, but his coach saw that even though this guy is tall and his turnover is not as fast where his legs is concerned, and that is why tall guys are not normally sprinters, because the turnover in the legs is much slower than a man who might got the right, proportion, who might be built proportionally to sprint. He got a quicker turnover. But they saw something special in him, and they allowed him to sprint, and he became the greatest sprinter the world has ever seen, the world has ever known. So I also would appeal to coaches to be nimble and to be alert for special qualities. Sometimes some people that might come up, and I might do things that might be contrary to what you were taught as a coach or as a trainer. But just watch and be nimble and say, you know what, maybe I should give this thing and give this guy a chance. And you never can tell. You might have a world champion, you may have a Grammy winner, you might have an Oscar winner. You never can tell.
Awesome. I think you've answered um my question very well, and I receive it with all my heart. And
Thank you. You're most welcome.
thank you. Before you go, what's the last final parting words do you have to say?
My parting words would be to Guyanese generally to show love, show respect for your fellow countrymen. I think we should love each other, and I think that we should, listen to our motto: one people, one nation, with one destiny. And we should try as much as possible to live by it.
Hmm.
I don't think that we live by it, you know. And a lot of times we are torn apart through politics and through ethnicity and race, and I don't want to see that happen. I think as a people we can achieve much more if we, and I want to say this too, not because you and I might disagree that we should be enemies.
Hmm. That's right.
You must have disagreements. And then you're home with your wife, they can got disagreements.
Hmm.
You everywhere you go. I've got friends who, we had disagreements, we argue, we and share the same opinion, but that doesn't mean we are enemies. A lot of times in life, from the time you don't agree with somebody, they think that you're the enemy and you don't, I would want people to understand disagreement does not necessarily mean that I'm your enemy because I might not agree with you.
Hmm.
And I think if we can understand that, I think we are being a little petty where that is concerned, and that once there is disagreement, then you're my enemy because you're in the enemy corner. I would love to see things like that change. And I would love for us to give our support to one another, to encourage one another. And if we can do this, man, things can happen, man. We have already, you know, uh, done a lot, learn our history. We don't know our history.
That's right.
Um, we must know and brand our work. We must brand our. We left with things open. We don't brand it, and people thief it and take it and say it's their thing. And then you got the devil's own job now to convince the world that this thing was your thing and you started this thing first because we don't document stuff, man.
That's right. I thank you, sir, for your time. I am more than honored and privileged to have you with me tonight.
Thank you for having me too. It was a
Yes,
privilege and an
yes,
honor.
yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. You're welcome. And I would cherish this moment, and thank God we're in the days where we can actually save these things, where we can go back and look at it and also share it, and for other people to come in contact with it and see. All right. So I appreciate you. I thank your wife as well, Miss Charmin Blackman, that has contributed so much to the industry and also building what you guys have today with you. All right. I respect you guys 100%, and I know a lot of other people that's on this live and not on the live that share the same sentiments that I do. So thanks again, and you know, just I don't know, I am
You you
I am so
you're
lost
most
for words.
welcome, man. And look, you have done me a favor too. You have done Guyana a favor too in allowing me to use up your space and your time. I think it's an honor. Maybe there should be some more talk like this, not with me, but involving other people, so that as Guyanese, we can learn and understand and be proud, and even sometimes become sad and want to do more in terms of what we have given up and what we should have done and what we did not do and what we did also. These programs can help us to understand the history
That's right.
of 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 our country and our culture. And I really hope that and I really thank you for the time that you have made possible for me to be here.
Thank you, thank you. And I'm on the journey of, and I call it the series of legends. So I've already interviewed Mr. Ian Johnson, and you're the second person that I've interviewed with this series, and I'm hoping to interview a lot more so that we can, more so for the younger generation to really understand how far back we come from, and with the information that you shared tonight, it's priceless. It's priceless. So thank you guys for allowing me to do this.
Thank you for having us, and we do appreciate your effort. And may God continue to bless you and give you the strength so that you can continue, what you have been anointed to do also.
Yes, I received that. Thank you, sir, and have an amazing rest of your night. All
Thank
right,
you.
and we'll talk um in the near future.
Thank you so much. You have a great night too, you and your household.
Thank you, sir. Good night. There we have it, Mr. Bonny Alves. Um, there's I'm usually good with words and stuff like that, but sometimes I get very tight tongued when it comes to thing, because growing up, you seeing these guys, and you hearing about them, and now getting the opportunity to do this is quite amazing. A lot might think that, oh, who is he and who is this and who is that, but it's way beyond what we think and what we see, until we actually get into things and conversations like this, is where we can get a lot much more appreciation for people like the Mr. Bonny Alves and Ian Johnsons and the rest of them. And like I said, I'm hoping to interview a lot more of individuals like them. And you know you guys can assist me in finding these guys if I've never come in contact. I'm sorry, excuse me. If I've never come in contact with them, just enlighten me so that we can get this history out in the open, a lot more. Right? Um, Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. One last announcement that I have is the Give Foundation. If you guys can contact Miss Marilyn Diabru on Facebook, all right, Marilyn Diabru, or you can type in a Give Foundation, so you guys can assist in school supplies for Linden, Guyana. Right, it will be gladly appreciated. So I would also like to thank the show's sponsors, and that will be People's Choice Pharmacy, that's in Linden. We have Fabulous Stars by One, and again the Give Foundation, and we have One Sat. That's the satellite internet that's going to be launched in Guyana soon. And we have DJ Chosen, who is very supportive of everything that Demrock is involved in. Demrock 2, whatever the case is, he is there, and I appreciate him. And of course, Demrock Clothing myself. All right. So, as always, I close the show with a music video, and this one is by Blackamore and Young Trip. Right? This is a brand new video. Hope you guys like.
They try to take a piece of mind. All I want is peace of mind. Traveling up on my way. Cherish every breath I take. Look myself in the mirror just one more time. Gather my thoughts, I'ma leave, I'ma keep on climbing. No matter how fast you're running, baby, you can't catch the sun. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I don't need no gun. In my heart the fire burns. Now the tables start to turn. And the lesson is learned. See, I'm from a place where there is so much, but for some of us it is never enough. When you've been down for so long, you don't know what it's like to be living it up. Living it up. When you're living it up. Living it up. Yo, man, looking at yourself, yeah, you don't know you're great. Go for where you want out of life, don't hesitate. You don't have to be no sacrificial lamb to no slaughter, just to make them know you relate. For all of the times that they sold you out, blessings are flow, everything sort out. So if they wanna question if everything Chris, look at them and tell them this. No matter how fast you run, brother, you can't catch the sun. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I don't need no gun. In my heart the fire burns. Now the tables start to turn. And the lesson is learned. See, I'm from a place where there is so much, but For some of us, it's never enough. When you've been down for so long, you don't know what it's like to be living it up. Living it up. To be living it up. Now you're living it up. Now you're living it up. Now you're living it up. Living it up. You're living it up.
Good night. Much love. Bless up. Peace.